Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Stephanie Bree, and I wanted to do an extra video this week, so more than five. And so I wanted to do one. I've been watching a lot of Minecraft videos for the last 3 years, and eventually I noticed a pattern among Minecraft creators that really bothers me. The so-called pros, they've got a few what they call tips that I disagree with, and I think they're a little arrogant in their usage of some of this advice, this quote advice. And so I wrote down here a list of things that are often that come up a lot in Minecraft builder tips. If you ever Google how to build better in Minecraft, you're gonna see a lot of these. And I'm only gonna pick out the ones I disagree with, and I'm gonna get into why I disagree with them. And my foundation here is I went to college, and okay, so I studied. My degree was in technically journalism, but it was mass communications, and so I took a lot of classes in graphic design. And I'm not saying that these builders didn't. What I'm saying is they're not following the rules that I learned in college. So the first tip that you're always going to get, it's number one on any builder list. Anytime you watch a Minecraft builders tutorial, the first thing they're going to tell, and I apologize for not having screenshots, but I can't run video games on this laptop, and I don't know how to capture screenshots from my PS4 easily because they took away this share to Twitter function. So I don't know how to get screenshots to my laptop anymore. I would just screenshot to Twitter and then download the photos and then that's how I would have screenshots. But I don't have that capability anymore because Sony decided to break the functionality that made the biggest selling point of the PS4 in the first place. But that's another story for another day. Rule number one: you're always going to hear this word texturing, and what they mean by texturing is instead of building a wall of a solid color out of one block, they want you to mix it up. So for example, if you're building a wall out of cobblestone, they want you to throw in some andesite and maybe some gravel and other blocks that are the same color as cobblestone but different textures as cobblestone. And they claim this adds some variety to the look. I disagree with this. I disagree with this vehemently. Texturing, if you don't do it right, can look like shit. And the problem with doing it right is Minecraft is a very low res game, and it uses very low resolution textures. So it's very easy to fuck up on texturing. Very easy. The other problem I have with texturing is it goes against one of the core principles of graphic design. We use a method called CRAP, and I'm not going to explain it. You can Google it, or I could do a video on it later. But the basics is you want some consistency. You want you want you don't want too many colors. You want contrast and consistency are the two main things here. So basically, what you're looking for in a graphic design, which you would use in architecture and art projects and building, because that's what Minecraft is. Building in Minecraft is architecture. What you want is a solid look. You don't want texturing. Have you ever gone to Walmart and seen a wall of bricks and then mixed interspersed randomly in the bricks are gold blocks? Fuck no, you don't see that. It's all one solid color. Buildings are all one solid color. All buildings are. That's how art works. You pick a color theme and you build the wall one color, and then you accent that with the trim and the roof and then the windows and things like that. So this whole idea of texturing, at least in regards to buildings, is bullshit, and I disagree with it vehemently. Texturing the ground is fine by me. I do that myself. If you're building paths, I prefer solid colors. I want my brick path to be all bricks because I want it to look like a brick path. I'm not going to slip in some andesite or, I don't know, orange redstone or something like, or terracotta or something to mix it up, because then it doesn't look like brick. Then it looks like it's a broken brick road, and I don't want that. I want a brick road that looks nice and pretty. So I'm not 1,000% against texturing on principle, but I think when it comes to a build, when you're building a house, if you're building your house out of mangrove wood, the entire wall should be mangrove wood. Jesus, I can't talk. Mangrove wood. I hate that word, mangrove. It's a hard one for me. Anyways, you accent it with, you get the texturing, as they're calling it, which is not really texturing, but it's the accents. And you get that by building frames around the windows, or a different color for the trim, putting things like, I don't know, flower pots, things like that. That's how you add variety to your build. Number 2, they always say planning. They say if you're going to be building in survival, have a creative world separate where you can plan your build. This doesn't work for everybody. This doesn't work for me. And the reason why this doesn't work for me is, if I build it in creative mode, okay, good, I built it in creative mode, I don't have the mental capacity to remember what the fuck I did to rebuild it in survival mode. Not everyone does. Some people have, what we call mental disabilities, like myself and other people. So not everybody has the luxury of being able to remember what they did in creative mode and then recreate it in survival mode. Now, that's not to say you shouldn't plan at all. Obviously, you should, but I don't think it's necessary to have a creative mode where you can play around with things. Sure, if you want to, that's a way to go. Another way to go is you could use Legos and just build a thing out of Legos and then get an idea. Another thing you could do is, drawing. You could just draw. Or you could trial and error. Just have an idea in your head and wing it. Figure it out for yourself. This is the method I use because planning for me doesn't ever work out. Nothing ever goes how I plan it. So for me, when I'm building, I get an idea and I build the foundation first, and then I build around it, build up from there. And then if I don't like how it looks, I take it down and I start over. Now, there's nothing wrong with starting over. These YouTubers have this very arrogant attitude that you have to do it right the first time. Because, I don't know, I guess if you're streaming or whatever, time is precious. But if you're just playing casually at home and you don't give a shit and you just have all the time in the world, what do you fucking care? Nobody's watching you build, so who cares if you got to tear it down if you make a mistake? Have fun. The one that irks me the most is when they say don't use squares for your foundation. They say that's boring. Use geometric shapes or stack the squares within squares and make diamonds and things like that. I'm going to tell you right now, I used to work in the construction business separate from my... I took a class in architecture design in college and graphic design and things like that. But I'm going to tell you flat out, in the real world, foundations are fucking square. Every building that has ever been built has a square foundation. Ever. But not every building you see is a square building. You do not have to build to the foundation. And this is key, because they make it sound like once you built the foundation, that's the shape of your building. You can't correct it afterwards, which is bullshit. You still can. You can always add a car garage onto the side, or an awning, or a wraparound, walk around porch, or whatever you want to do. There's other ways you can add to the shape of the building. So when people say you have to use odd shapes and geometric shapes for your foundation, I'm screaming at them, no, do not. Only use squares. Because in real world architecture, real world architects only use squares. Every building ever made, ever, in the real world, uses a square foundation. Every building ever made. But they're not all square buildings. The foundation is not the shape of the house. The foundation is what the house sits on. So when YouTubers say use the foundation as the shape of your house. Fuck them, they're idiots. They don't know what the fuck they're talking about. The other build tip that you get a lot is use trapdoors. And I say fuck that. Trapdoors are ugly. They're offensive to my eyes. They're confusing to place because they can go two different ways depending on which way you're moving the cursor. And you got to fucking trial and error to get it right. And trapdoors do not make a building look better. When I see a building that's littered with trapdoors, I don't see a building with accents and texture like they claim. I see a building that's cluttered with trapdoors. I see clutter. And I don't want clutter in my builds. I want solid colors. The other build tip that they use, I don't disagree with 100%, but I leave this one up to the eye of the beholder, so to speak. And this is using one thing to represent something else. I'm of the opinion that if a certain type of block or item doesn't exist in Minecraft, that block or item doesn't exist in my build. So someone will give advice like use I don't know. Oh, okay. Here's one that I heard recently. Turtle eggs. They say turtle eggs kind of look like flower pots. No, they don't. They look like fucking turtle eggs. They don't look anything like flower pots. It looks like you just stuck a bunch of filthy, disgusting, dirty, organic turtle eggs on your countertop. Another one I saw recently is somebody using a loom to represent empty bookshelves. No, if you can build an empty bookshelf in Minecraft. You don't have to use the standard Minecraft bookshelf for your bookshelf. This is where you get a little creative. But build a bookshelf out of wood, using slabs. Build a square with square, slabs for shelves, and then put bookshelves on those shelves where you want books, and where you don't want books, leave them empty. I don't like using one thing to represent another thing because it often doesn't look enough like the thing they say. And the reason why I say that is because not everybody uses the default vanilla texture pack. So when someone says if you use this item to represent this thing using the vanilla texture pack, maybe. But if you're using the city texture pack, it doesn't look anything like what they say it is. If you're using the medieval texture pack, it doesn't look anything like they say it is because the textures are different. So that's bad advice. Another one that they always say before you build, they say you have to terraform the land first. Build the landscape how you want it, and then build your building on top of it. Again, this isn't 100% how it's done in the real world. And they're using the word terraforming, but they really mean landscaping, because terraforming is not changing the land. Terraforming is taking a dead planet and giving it life, which is not what you're doing in Minecraft. So when they're calling it terraforming, they're using the word wrong. What they're really doing is landscaping, but they don't know what they're talking about. So when you are landscaping, yes, there's nothing wrong with flattening a hill or building rounding out a hill or building a path to your house or build or whatever. But you don't have to dynamite the whole goddamn thing and then rebuild it to your desires or whatever, because you only need to change the shape as needed to make room for your build. You don't have to terraform the whole goddamn landscape. This one isn't so much a building per se, a tip of advice, but it's an aspect of Minecraft I hate and I despise. And so for me, I don't use it at all in any of my builds, and I do not build machines or things using it, and it's redstone. The only time I ever use redstone is if I need a redstone block for a build, because I want that look. If I'm building if I'm building a building that I want that red redstone texture, I'll build out of redstone blocks. I do not build machines out of redstone. I do not use redstone dust or redstone torches or redstone, components. Obviously, this is just me. And this isn't... The purpose of this video isn't ignore the arrogant YouTubers who think they know better. This is more like, do what looks good for you. If you like it, don't let somebody say, oh, that's ugly, you have to do this to it. Don't. Just flip them a middle finger and say, fuck you, I like it how it is. Stand by your builds. Don't let people say your build's ugly because it doesn't use these so-called allegedly professional tips and tricks, when these so-called allegedly professionals are just arrogant assholes who don't know what the fuck they're talking about. Thanks for watching.